Hi everyone, I'm Senator Roger Marshall, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Ag Talk with Doc. As you may have heard, the United States Senate is in the early stages of writing the 2023 Farm Bill. Now, a Farm Bill has been signed into law about every 5 years since 1933, and while a Farm Bill is important to farmers, it's so much more. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce today's guest, the senior senator from the great state of Arkansas, and the ranking member for the Ag Committee, my good friend and mentor, Dr. John Boozman. John, welcome to the show, and looking forward to a good chat on agriculture and the Farm Bill.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and we're so pleased that you're on the committee and doing such a great job. In visiting with Senator Roberts, he's very, very proud of you, since he was a guy that has done a tremendous job through the years representing agriculture. But you've jumped in there, and again, he's very proud. I'm very proud of the tremendous effort and what you bring to the committee.
Well, John, thank you. And certainly, I can't recall Senator Roberts wrote 5 of these, or 6 or 7 or 8 of the farm bills. This is my second one. The first one, I was a little anxious and nervous, but I'm excited about this particular one. When people talk about a farm bill, everyone just assumes it's all about agriculture and all about for the farmers. Why would the average American care what's in a farm bill?
Well, it's so important, and we're in a situation now, I know in Arkansas, and this will be true in Kansas, all throughout the country. We've got 75 counties, 52 or 53 of them lost population. We've lost our manufacturing. The only thing that's left now is farming. In Arkansas, it's 25% of our entire state economy. You get outside of any town of any size, it's probably 85 or 90%. So very, very important.
In Kansas, I think what past farm bills have done, everything from building hospitals and high-speed internet, and I'm sure you're seeing those same things as well.
Right.
Senator Boozman, one of the things my producers love to do is learn about what's going on in other states. And certainly, I bet 80-90% of what we grow are the same crops, the same cattle. But when I think of Arkansas, maybe a little bit more unique than Kansas, I think of the crops like rice. Right. You guys do harvest timber. The term forestry in Kansas is kind of an oxymoron. And we grow a dab of cotton in Kansas. You probably grow a little bit more. So tell us how production, anything you would share with our farmers that you think is unique to that production, anything unique in the Farm Bill that they would care about that a farmer in Kansas maybe not as concerned about?
Well, it's interesting. Arkansas is kind of divided into 3 sections. You've got the Delta, which borders Tennessee and Mississippi. It can grow, it's much like Kansas, it can grow about anything. We've got a lot of rice production, we've got cotton, we've got peanuts, we've got soybeans, corn, you name it in that regard. You get down south and it's forest and tremendous timberland there. In the northern part of the state, you've got a lot of cattle and go with chickens, because with chicken manure you can grow a lot of grass. And so it's really a diverse state, compared to a lot. It's the other side of it too, though, Roger, is that even though it's very diverse, as I talk to the farmers in Arkansas, all of them, and then you go to Kansas, and I'm looking forward to coming to Kansas in the near future. You go to North Dakota, wherever it is. The concerns of the farmers are all the same. They're really concerned about the high input costs, the uncertainty with high interest rate, the very, very high line prices. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So
sounds like you've been talking to my farmers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same story.
It's the same issues. Yeah, and it's important. I know you're talking to your farmers. I'm talking to farmers. The solutions to our problems need to come from the ground up. Those are the individuals that can.
Absolutely. I've always felt like our job is to accentuate the positive in the last Farm Bill, get rid of the negative, be efficient with the people's money, those types of things. John, I'm a 5th-generation farm kid. I've always said that farmers and ranchers are the original stewards of the land. Long before it was in vogue, farmers and ranchers were taking care of the land. How would you envision a Farm Bill rewarding environmentally sound practices in agriculture. Why is this environmental conservation component of the Farm Bill important?
Conservation component's really important. And then the various parts of that, things like EQIP, which is very, very popular, all of it. But the one thing we can be proud of, when you look at the inputs, you know, as far as what we use to grow a crop, they've stayed flat. The production, though, is like this. Mm-hmm. So we also need to continue on with the great work that we're doing from a science standpoint, all of the research that's gone on to make it such that we can continue to really do not just a good job, but a great job in a very environmentally stewardship way of producing, you know, the crops that we produce.
Right. When I think of conservation right now in Kansas agriculture, I think about precision agriculture, where we're growing more with less, and that takes technology to do it. Yeah. It takes not just the
broadband.
It takes broadband to do it. Lots of broadband as well, and that will certainly be an emphasis of this Farm Bill as well.
Right. I know you've worked really hard on that. We've worked hard on that, but yeah, these are things that are very, very important.
John, we kind of went around the edges of the Farm Bill, some of the smaller pieces, but what would you tell my producers back home what your priorities are as the ranking member on the Agriculture Committee?
Well, I think really important, Roger, and you're a veteran of two Farm Bills, and you know, Farm Bills aren't about Democrats and Republicans. They're about regions of the country. You know, you mentioned Kansas and Arkansas. We have a lot of water we can irrigate. Some other areas don't irrigate as much. We can produce a crop. You worry about the price of the crop going down, you know, during the growing period. Other areas sometimes can't produce the crop, so we've got to make sure that we've got the crop insurance programs, you know, the ARC, PLC, the underlying programs, the safety nets to make sure that all of the regions of the country are represented. And then again, the different commodities. Cotton is different than corn. Peanuts are different. I mean, the list goes on and on. Our specialty crops. California now is in a situation where they don't have a lot of water. They've almost got too much water now, yeah. but they've got water problems. And as a result, some of the vegetable stuff, you know, is moving out. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for other places in the country. We've got to take care of our specialty crops. The list goes on and on.
Yeah. When I think of the importance of a Farm Bill, you know, to your point here, is that America is so blessed that we pay about half of what other developed nations do for groceries, something we all take for granted.
Very much.
And what a Farm Bill does, it ensures that we have safe, reliable, affordable food, that it helps that farmer plant next year's crop. No one gets rich off of crop insurance or the ARC or PLC funding, right. But it allows a more of a constant, steady supply, so we don't have 2 years of no wheat production because of Mother Nature, right. And we don't put farmers out of business. So it helps stabilize right. the supply side of agriculture. And as we both know, that food security is national security as well.
Very much. It allows, you know, you simply have to have it. So much of agriculture is credit-based. And so you're not going to be able to get the loans you need. The bankers need that assurance. And they don't even, in the old days, they could guess and, you know, kind of take a chance. They don't even have the ability anymore, you know, with banking regulations. So, again, it's really important for lots of different reasons.
Certainly today's farmers are very leveraged. And that's why the interest rates are so important. Mm-hmm. John, I want you to kind of just explain to folks the big picture of the monetary side of a Farm Bill. Again, I think everyone assumes, well, most of the money must be going towards crop insurance, but you know, I'm a pie chart guy. Maybe just describe some of the major segments of a Farm Bill, where that funding's going.
Well, it's really amazing. You know, we talk in terms of the Farm Bill, but as far as money going to farmers, going to rural America, it's only probably about 18%, 17-18%. It's a lot of money total, but most of it is nutrition. You know, taking care of people that need help. So, like I say, it's a big chunk of money, and we want to make sure that those dollars are going where they can make the most impact.
I think that's right, and I'm excited and working on some programs with different people across the aisle, nutrition programs. I do believe food is medicine. I'm concerned that we have a type 2 diabetes epidemic across this country. I'm very concerned about the nutrition of our senior citizens and our children as well. And really, for that matter, all of America should take a look at what their nutrition status is. And like you said, we want to make sure that the money we're spending on nutrition programs are going to the best places as well. And thinking of talking about working across the aisle, one of my programs that I'm working on is with Senator Debbie Stabenow. And you kind of alluded to this before about the importance of bipartisanship on all the way up here, but certainly on an ag committee. People back home say, do you guys ever get anything done? Do you ever work anything together? I think it'd be good to talk a little bit about your personal relationship with the chairperson of the Ag Committee, Senator Debbie Stabenow from the great state of Michigan, who's retiring next year, and about just that, how we do work across the aisle on the Ag Committee.
Well, we do, and Michigan's interesting. We had a field hearing at Michigan State, and about 25% of their economy is ag. I think 1 in 7 jobs. It's huge. And so, certainly she represents her state very, very well in that regard. So we've had the opportunity. We passed a thing called the Growing Climate Solutions Bill,
right,
which is all that does is make it such that farmers, if they'd like to get into the carbon markets in the private sector, not in the government doing this, but in the private sector, we give the tools, to allow them to have the knowledge, how to participate.
Right.
Just another, perhaps, revenue stream for them. So we've done a number of different things. We've worked really hard on various nutrition things. So we have a track record of getting things done. I think both of us have learned that when we're together, we can get some really difficult things done. If we're divided, it's virtually impossible. So because of that, and just because of the fact that we both understand how important this is, my staff, her staff is working together very, very well, as is the Republican members and the Democrat members of the committee.
Yep. I'm very
trying
proud
to find common ground, and you're a great example of that, Roger. You mentioned the nutrition. Senator Booker is very interested in that also, and Senator Booker's a good friend of mine,
Sure.
Good friend of yours. We don't agree on a lot of things, but areas like that, when you can come together, it truly does make a big difference.
Exactly, and one of the particular areas he and I are working together on is just our concern for type 2 diabetes in young, and frankly in students right now as well.
It's interesting, my brother was a pediatrician before he became an ophthalmologist, did a pediatric residency, and then got into ophthalmology, eye surgery. He and I practiced together for 20 some odd years. But he said that during those early years of his practice, you virtually did not see type 2 diabetes in young kids. I mean, it just didn't happen.
Right.
And now, it's epidemic. It's so, the fact that you're jumping on it is so important. Another issue that we've got in rural America is, and this is a problem with farmers, getting young farmers involved. I think the average age is 58, 60. Well, 40% of the healthcare providers in Arkansas are 60 or older, and I'd say that's true in Kansas too.
Absolutely.
Not just in rural Kansas,
Yeah.
but throughout the state. These are issues again that we can help with the Farm Bill. Recognizing the rural aspect of it, but these are big issues that we just simply have to deal with that are affecting our nation.
John, you're one of the most humble people I've ever met. What would you like your legacy to be with the 2023 Farm Bill?
Well, I'd like my legacy and your legacy, because you're as much a part of it as I am, just, again, taking care of farmers, taking care of rural America. And it's not handouts to farmers, it's getting the safety nets in place. But also it's all about making sure that we have the schools that we need, to attract people. The hospital area is such a big deal, protecting our rural hospitals, rural schools. The list goes on and on. to make it such that the quality of life is still there, so that, as you grew up in rural America, and I, even in Fort Smith, which is a medium-sized town or whatever, but it's still very, very rural, that, people still have that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, John, I want to just close with a little bit lighter question. I grew up watching Arkansas football, Arkansas Razorback football.
Yeah.
KU and K-State didn't have very good teams. They were, I believe Arkansas was part of the Southwest Conference, some wishbone, some single wing action, those types of things. I've been to the University of Arkansas, competed in a track meet there. Beautiful campus, as I recall, the football stadium, and then you kind of go down the hills, a basketball stadium, and the track and the base. Beautiful campus. But most people don't remember is that you played football at the University of Arkansas. Who was your coach? Any memories from there that still touch you to this day?
Yeah, my coach was Frank Broyles.
Oh my goodness!
Who was a legendary coach and just a good person, tremendous leader. He had the ability, and I think this is something that's really helped me in watching him. But the key to his success was really having great coaches around him. My offensive line coach was Joe Gibbs.
Oh my goodness!
Who went on, to
coach the Hogs of the Washington football team.
That's where that came from.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
So he came. Just a who's who of coaches came through there. In fact, there's an award, for assistant coaches that's named after him because of his ability to see great talent like that, bring them together, and then turn them loose, allow them. And so that's how we operate on the committee. That's how I operate on my staff. That's how you operate. I mean, it's just a team. The members of our committee, working together. I really do believe that we're a lot smarter as a group than we are individually. The other thing that he always talked about was there's two kinds of people. There's givers and there's takers. And he was good. He actually lived that life. So these are just important basic principles but it is a blessing, to be around people like that as you're developing your own sense of how you're going to run your life and how you're going to run your business.
John, I think about that Joe Gibbs football team. The running back was a University of Kansas graduate from Centralia, Kansas, John Riggins. So that's another example, bipartisanship. A Big 8 running back playing for a coach that came from the Southwest Football Conference.
Riggins was one of my heroes because he was such a tough guy.
Oh my! He was.
He was just a tough guy.
Well, John, I appreciate you joining us today. I do appreciate your friendship, being a mentor, being so kind. I just want to thank everyone for joining us today for another Ag Talk with Doc. I hope you learned something. Thank you so much. God bless you all.